go back to the tweets of the racist person that works for you. What does caudacity mean?
I have no idea, Congressman.
You took 6 months to investigate one tweet. You didn't even figure out what the words meant?
I didn't investigate the thing. She's a DOD.
Well, you said in the Fox News article that you were going to take 30 days and investigate it, and it took you 6 months. In a 6-month investigation, you guys didn't learn what caudacity meant? I think you know. I think every person that's going to watch this exchange knows you know. She's trying to lash audaciousness with someone being Caucasian, isn't she?
I have no idea, Congressman.
Wow, what an investigation. When she says PD sessions...
I will say I did not do the investigation. She is a GS employee that's employed by DODEA. Well, DODEA conducted the investigation.
Gosh, the Pentagon told Fox News Digital that Gil Cisneros would provide a final decision in 30 days. So someone at the Pentagon is throwing your name out there as being responsible for this, and now it looks foolish that you're suggesting you don't know what that means.
Well, I would say that
hold on,
that
PD
quote
sessions.
did not come from
let's
me.
Go to
Let's
this, Mr. Cisneros. What's a PD session?
My guess would be personal development.
Personal development. You don't think it's professional development? Another open matter for the investigation that it didn't resolve. So you don't know what caudacity means. She's obviously talking about professional development there. And like when she says, I had to stop, or let's go to the next claim. The caudacity to say that black people can be racist too. Mr. Cisneros, can black people be racist too?
I've already stated, Congressman, that I didn't agree with her statements.
But I'm asking about that provision. Can black people be racist?
This question is about me or my personal beliefs, but again,
you're the leading official over DEI. A racist person who works for you puts out these tweets, and you won't say whether you agree or disagree.
I told you,
Mr. Chairman, I just want to remind members to observe standards of decorum.
This is decorum. It's my time. Can black people be racist?
I do not agree with that tweet.
Do you agree with that statement? I'm asking you a statement. Can black people be racist?
I'm not going to answer that, Congressman.
Why not?
Because you're asking me a personal opinion, and that's not what this is about.
Actually, I'm asking you in your capacity as a senior DOD official in the Biden administration, where we see recruiting falling off the table, whether or not the embrace of racist tweets, whether shuffling these people around rather than firing them, and whether this little exchange here is helping or hurting recruiting. Let's go ahead and put up the recruiting.
I will tell you, we do not support racist tweets. We do not support racism.
Well, did you fire this lady?
Again,
you hired her.
As I stated, I did not hire her. As she was,
DOD hired her.
As it was stated earlier, she's a DODEA employee. She's a GS employee. The inquiry that was done said these tweets were done on a personal matter.
Oh, a personal matter. How do you know it's a personal matter if you don't know that the PD can stand for professional development? Mr. Cisneros, this is a professional development session where she attacked white colleagues and took the position that black people can't be racist. Now, you can't answer basic questions about it, and here's what I would propose to you. This is what we're looking at in recruiting right now. It's fallen off the table. And when you have employees that you don't fire who do racist things and say racist things, then you really hurt the ability to recruit people who want to be part of an inclusive and diverse force.
I would say the data that we have is not, the recruiting is not falling off because of that. But again, the Department of Defense, DODEA, does not agree with the tweets that she made.
It was at 3 o'clock during the workday. You didn't fire her. If someone puts out racist things, do you fire them or do you just move them around?
That was not an official, that's her own personal Twitter account.
Here's the problem with the double standard, Mr. Cisneros. When Caucasian members of the military post about the Second Amendment or supporting building the wall, you all seem to be on a white supremacy snipe hunt. You seem to take people's personal views and weaponize them against them. And I've had people in my district who serve that wonder whether or not some joke that they forwarded or meme that they liked is going to result in the ruining of their careers. But you have no such interest when it's a person like this. You delayed the investigation. Your own name was what DOD put out as conducting the investigation. You delayed it. This lady makes like $160,000 a year. Do you really think today the taxpayer should be paying this lady that amount of money?
The investigation was not conducted by me. That was never...
Well, why did the Pentagon say it was you?
I don't know who the Pentagon in that said that, but I will tell you it was a misstatement.
But Mr. Chairman, I seek to enter...
The investigation was conducted by DODEA because she's a DODEA employee.
Well, if you just fired racist people, then maybe you wouldn't have to go through this. But, Mr. Chairman, I have a series of unanimous consent requests.
Without objection.
So first is Pentagon drags out decision after probe into woke diversity chief accused of anti-white people's tweets. The second is Wing selected as DODEA Chief of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and that is from dodea.edu. The next is everybody can be racist. DOD Chief Diversity Educator defends tweets targeted toward white educators.
Mr. Cisneros, are you familiar with the tweet? It's both on the screens, it should be up there, and right behind me, by the former DODEA Chief of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Kalisa Wing. Are you familiar with the tweet? Can you please read the tweet aloud?
So exhausted at the white folks in these PD sessions. This lady actually had the caudacity to say black people can be racist too. I had to stop the session and give Karen the business. We are not the majority. We don't have power. A thread, why ask for assistance?
And again, for the viewers who are watching this is the former chief of DEI for DODEA, for schools in our Department of Defense. This is wildly inappropriate and unacceptable. Would you agree with that, Mr. Cisneros?
I do agree that that is not acceptable. It's not condoned by, it's not something I would condone, and it's not condoned by DODEA or the Department of Defense.
Well, when I raised this issue, in fact, I wrote a letter to the Department of September of last year and did not receive a response. It was only when I wrote a follow-up letter on November of last year, we did finally get a response in December stating the department was conducting an inquiry into this matter. Today, 6 months after that initial inquiry, you responded 3 hours prior to this hearing, which is a trend for Biden administration officials at the last minute scrambling before these hearings, claiming that you determined Ms. Wing was speaking, quote, in a personal capacity and that her colleagues never heard her made similar comments at work. However, interestingly, in the letter, which I want to submit for the record,
Without objection.
it also states that she has been transferred as part of headquarters restructuring. She was reassigned to another position that does not include diversity, equity, and inclusion specific responsibilities. I have a feeling that has to do with the fact that we have shined light on this. But my question for you is, will you commit to making the review and the findings publicly available to Congress and to service members?
Ma'am, you did get the letter today. I apologize that it did not come sooner, but I will say also my team has been down here, the DODEA team as well, to talk with staff on this topic.
No, there was no response to the letter. We were promised 30 days. 30 days after September would be October.
The director of schools, Tom Brady, was down on the Hill to talk with staff as well.
Don't cover up for the trend of the Biden administration. This is the second hearing in 2 weeks where the response to a letter delayed is given the day of or the day before the hearing with FBI Director Chris Wray. My question for you is, will you make the findings of this review publicly available to Congress and to servicemen and women?
You know, Ms. Wing is a GS employee. She's not a senior executive. There are restrictions that we have to follow, but we will look into the matter as far as to see what can be shared and what can't.
Well, we're requesting that. My next question for you is, have you read Kalisa Wing's books titled, What is White Privilege? What does it mean to defund the police? What is the Black Lives Matter movement? Have you read those books?
I have not read those books.
Are you aware, however, that those books are in DODEA K-12 schools throughout the country?
I do not know, I can't say with certainty, I do not know that they are in those libraries at all, or if they have been, or if they are now.
Well, they are. Do you think that's appropriate?
I don't know for a fact that they are.
They are. I'm telling you they are. That's why I asked you the question. You should know. You're a DOD official. I'm informing you. You should know the answer that they are available.
Well,
and one reason you should know that is because in her own presentation as a DOD employee at a DODEA summit, she stated, quote, my passion work is dismantling disparate discipline systems, and I am hugely passionate about dismantling the school-to-prison pipeline. I've written a book, Promises and Possibilities, Dismantling the School-to-Prison Pipeline. Shameless plug. That's her words, end quote. So while conducting her official duties as a DODEA employee, she advertised not only her personal social media accounts, which included this tweet, her personal websites, but she advertised her personal books. Are you aware that this is illegal for DoD employees to advertise and promote their personal books, that they will profit off of those sales?
Again, this was a book that she wrote in a personal matter. It was on her personal tweet, I guess, from what I understand.
No, it wasn't on a personal
You're
tweet.
saying?
It was at a DoD summit. In her capacity presenting as a DoD official, she promoted her book, and in fact, she stated this is a shameless plug for her book. Is that illegal, and is that appropriate?
I don't know who she was talking to or what the summer was. I'm not aware with that, but I can look into it and I'll get back to you.
You seem to not know a lot of what's happening in the department. You seem to be inappropriate. So my expectation is that we'll continue educating you on what's happening in the Biden administration Department of Defense, but this is absolutely unacceptable. We expect that report, and I will take it as a result that we delivered, making sure that she should have been fired completely, but she was at least moved somewhere else, not dealing with our kids' educational systems.
Well, there are restrictions that, again, she's a GS employee. She's not a senior executive. The inquiry did find that, the tweets that she made or comments that she made were not in line with the Department of Defense or DoD schools, but they were made on a personal basis. That was the result of the inquiry. And we will look into the privacy that's in there, and we will share, we will look into what we can share and what we can't share.